the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
The Drew Mariani Show on Relevant Radio.
Well, thanks for joining me today. I've got a question for you. Where do our rights come from? Does the government give you your rights? Do they come just from God? You know, I heard something recently that it shook me a little bit because it revealed just how far we as a society have drifted from truth. I don't know if you caught this at all. Senator Tim Kaine, he's a Democrat from Virginia, a man who, you know, he claims, you know, he publicly identifies as Catholic. You know, he made a statement during a Senate hearing. He objected to a witness agreeing with Senator Marco Rubio, who stated that rights come from God, not from government. And then in response to that, Ted Cruz excoriated the senator. So listen to what Tim Kaine said. This is Tim Kaine's words, then Ted Cruz. Listen.
You state, and this is a quote from Secretary Rubio, our rights come from God, our creator, not from our laws, not from our governments. I find that very, very troubling. I'm a devout person. I was a missionary in Honduras. We've got other devout folks in this room, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, American. The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the creator, that's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Shia law and targets Sunnis, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, and other religious minorities. And they do it because they believe that they understand what natural rights are from their creator. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling.
I almost fell out of my chair because that radical and dangerous notion, in his words, is literally the founding principle upon which the United States of America was created. And if you do not believe me, then you can believe perhaps the most prominent Virginian to ever serve, Thomas Jefferson, who wrote in the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their creator. Not by government, not by the Democratic National Committee, but by God, with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Well said. Well said, Senator Cruz. And that's what I want to talk about because, you know, if government gives you the rights and the government can take them away, right? It's not just dangerous. It's an inversion of both Catholic teaching and our country's founding philosophy. So let's talk about it today with one of the brightest minds I have an opportunity to talk to. That's Professor Robert George. He, of course, has taught at Harvard Law School. He's a former chairman of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, and he's the author of a new book, Seeking Truth and Speaking Truth, Law and Morality in Our Cultural Moment. Good to have you with us today, Professor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Drew. It's great to be back on with you.
So share with me, give me your take on all this. You heard the exchange. You know, apparently Senator Kaine, you can understand where he comes from, but clearly Senator Cruz set him straight. Lay this out for us. Explain to those who say, yeah, our rights do come from governments. What about the Sharia law argument? If you believe that here, then how does that apply when it comes to some other radical ideology?
Well, when I heard the recording a few days ago of Senator Kaine's remarks, I just found it excruciatingly embarrassing, and I felt very badly for the poor man.
Yeah.
Here before millions upon millions of his fellow citizens, because it was being broadcast or was broadcast. What he said was ignorant and foolish. Our rights don't come from government. Our most fundamental rights don't come from government. They don't come from any merely human source, any merely human power. As the Declaration of Independence points out, in the words of Thomas Jefferson, as Senator Cruz noted, our most fundamental rights, our basic rights, our unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness come from no mere human power, but rather from the hand of God. And as a result of that, our most basic rights cannot be violated or taken away by any merely human power. If our rights were from a merely human source, then that human source, whatever it is, could legitimately take them away. That would be to court tyranny. But thank God, They're not. Our most basic rights come from God and from God alone, not from government, not from law, not from any merely human power. That is the fundamental American proposition. When you swear an oath of loyalty to your country, when you're sworn into office, you are affirming that basic principle. The Catholic understanding is like the American understanding. Our basic rights and our basic duties come not from any merely human power, but rather from God himself.
Do you think that Senator Kaine's views maybe reflect a larger trend in American political thought today?
If you don't believe in God,
right,
if you don't believe in any more than merely human source of value, of meaning, of rights, of duties, if you don't believe in any transcendent authority, then our rights, if we have any, must have merely human sources. But if they have merely human sources, then those sources can take away those rights. They're entitled to. They gave them, they can take them away. But most Americans, even today, although our society has become more secular in recent years, most Americans, even today, believe in God. And that's true of most Democrats as well as most Republicans.
Yep.
What serious Catholic would want our fellow citizens to think that it's perfectly compatible with Catholicism to think that our rights come from merely human powers, not from the hand of God?
Right.
If he has not already walked back those comments, he will soon be walking them back.
How do we push back on this type of things? When the news broke, the FBI was spying on faithful Catholics. To the cultural question there, is this a larger trend in American political thought? And how do we counter this? How do we stay vigilant to protect these rights?
I don't think it is a larger trend in American political thought. I think even in academic political philosophy, things are moving actually in the other direction. We've gone through a period of intense secularization, especially in elite sectors of the culture, and most especially in the academic sectors.
Yeah.
But my perception is that things are moving in the opposite direction. Just as it happens, just coincidentally, Drew, it hasn't been announced publicly yet, but I'll go ahead and reveal to your listeners, I have been invited to and will be giving the biennial Kellogg Lecture of the Library of Congress on October the 9th.
Wow.
And the title of my lecture will be Why Liberal Secularism Fails. And what I'll be doing is talking about the grand effort that was made over the course of the last roughly 60 to 70 years to build a coherent political philosophy on secularist principles. And I'll be talking about why that effort has failed and why even most academic political philosophers, even those who are not religiously affiliated, are perceiving that it has failed. And its failure means that people are starting to look elsewhere than to secularism for a coherent philosophy of politics, including a coherent understanding of the American civic order.
Hey, like what you just heard? Then share it with your family and friends. And thanks for listening.